cyclists got scared. However, you saw that this is about the Nagoya Protocol and how we as ethnobiologists, ethnobotanists changed over the last 25 years. And one part of the Nagoya Protocol is that it asks for prior informed consent. So,
can you use the microphone? Yes, please.
So once it is here, I will use it. So prior informed consent also pertains to talks. So technically, if you take photos of anybody's talk or tape them without asking them, in case me, you steal my intellectual property. But you have permission to do whatever you want with this talk. Now there we go. So funny enough, I just turned 50, and 25 years ago I did start my scientific work. And if we can get those lights off, we might be able to see. But I did not start out as ethnobotanist. But I did start out with this humble man who I would like to mention, Mr. Simon Mathingi was herbarium assistant at the University of Nairobi, and he just passed away. And without his help, he never got a degree or whatever, none of us would ever have finished our thesis. And this is very important because we normally do not recognize still people we are working with. But almost no thesis that has been done in Kenya in the last 20 years would have been possible without the help of this man. And secondly, I'm actually very proud to be here. First of all, thanks to Anna and all organizers for a really great show. But I am Swabian, a German Swabian. And you might know that the other half of the tribe came to this region and started the Swabian kingdom 1600 years ago. So this is where my ancestors come from. I'm very proud to be able to be here. It has been a long time. So, 25 years ago, I started field work on this mountain, my mountain, in East Africa, and I was a vegetation ecologist, so one of the people who, first of all, classify vegetation. Beautiful place, where it is moved. What did I do? Well, I did a wonderful vegetation map with all these interesting units, very similar to maps that existed before, and basically obsolete when it was published because most of those forests were heavily disturbed shortly afterwards. But it's a nice, colorful map. Nothing to say against it. But I conveniently forgot that, well, my mountain was actually heavily used. Lots of people growing things there, and also lots of people working in the forest, my forest. So that made me very upset, of course, and I published these works. Some stuff on destruction. Well, people clearing forests for plantations, trying to feed their families, people. Enemies, of course, because, well, they were destroying the resource I wanted to conserve. Lots of illegal logging, lots of marijuana cultivation in the forest, coincidentally by the presidential family, so there was a bit of a problem. Lots of forest fires. Well, my reaction, a nice paper on destruction of Mount Kenya forest with some very nice guidelines for the future, establish tree nurseries, and so on, but most importantly, get people out of the forest, my forest, right? These people who happen to have used those forests for quite a long time had nothing to do with my conservation perspective. We did something useful though. We did some work on growth rates and germination of indigenous trees, because coincidentally the British Forest Administration, and after that the Kenyan Forest Administration, had never bothered about local species. So pines, eucalyptus, cypress, that was all nice. But we didn't know anything about local species and their germination. So at least that one might have been something useful, but if you look at the authors, there aren't too many. And I started branching out during that work to basically all neglected forest areas in Kenya. Parts of these are woodlands. You saw maybe that article that came out recently, I think in Nature of Science, about, oh, we have recovered thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of forests that nobody had known about, basically woodlands. Of course, people didn't know about those a long time ago, but anyway. And I started to look at, that's where ethnobotany comes in, plant use. Just as an artifact, we collected plants and said, well, let's ask the guy what it's used for, maybe we'll do something with it at some point. And after having done all this kind of stuff in Africa, I switched gear and went to South America, becoming something like an ethnobiologist. I joined an expedition as botanist. I was wondering why these anthropologists ask all these questions. So for me it was rather strange sitting in an interview and they talk and talk and talk. And I just wanted to identify plants. But why South America, especially that region here at the coast towards the Amazon of Peru? Well, it's a very diverse ecosystem. Dry forests, very wet Andean forests in a very small gradient, and lots of plant use. Everybody using plants, whether it's for food, for ceremonial purposes. This one is Calathea, is also used as aphrodisiac, and of course, many of you might know cat's claw. And that was a bit of an eye-opener, because most of what's cat's claw in the market is actually not cat's claw, but a whole bunch of other species that have spines or thorns, whatever, but no medicinal value whatsoever. But there is a lot of use. This, by the way, are Nicandra seeds. You saw Nicandra in the previous slide on a 2,000-year-old vessel. So plants have been used for a long time. There's lots of syncretism now, everything incorporated from pre-Columbian vessels to saints to lots of plants, and everybody goes to healers, whether you're poor or rich, doesn't matter. Everybody uses healing services and plants, whether it's already some preparation or huge piles of plants for sale. And in fact, turns out to be the region in the world that seems to have the most diverse plant markets, 500 species in local markets, so lots of stuff. However, what we soon realized was that only 2.5% of all species account for most of the sales. And among those are chamomile, eucalyptus, rue, all of them introduced. So traditional knowledge suddenly became an interesting topic because, well, is this traditional? Is it not traditional? What is it really? And then, of course, there's stuff like dragon's blood, croton, or cat's claw that are very frequently traded, also in international markets. And one question we asked was, has plant use changed? Well, traditional knowledge, we always think is kind of long-term, whatever. This is an aquarelle from 1780, Pseudophinopsis cordifolia, Fleur de Saint Juan. Same thing in the market nowadays. So it initially looked like, hey, we have a pharmacopoeia that is really stacked with long-term traditional use. Well, not quite, because it turned out that 60% of the plants we find in the markets nowadays were not there 200 years ago. So there is a huge turnover. Traditional knowledge always changes. So nothing about thousands of years of ancestral knowledge that has never changed, whatever. And about 30% of the plants we found are actually introductions, some of them very recent. So there is a lot of change. And of course, being a Western trained scientist, he said, well, does this stuff really work? So we did some simple antibacterial bioassays. That was the easiest thing to do. And we actually found that if we looked at plants with traditional use for antibacterial purposes, well, they actually almost all of them worked. And stuff that did not have traditional use for that purpose, well, did not work. Very interesting. So, local people actually knew what they were doing. Very, very surprising to a young Western trained scientist. And then we thought, well, let's look at toxicity, because we learned that a lot of these plants might do something, but they're all very toxic potentially. So, very simply speaking, we looked at water and ethanol extracts, and they actually were somewhat toxic. But very interesting, local people actually knew what they were doing. The water extracts were normally used internally. And they happened especially to kill E. coli, which is internal. Whereas alcohol extracts were normally used externally for wounds, staph infections. Yes, they were quite toxic, but it didn't matter because people didn't ingest them. So to me this was a bit of an eye-opener. There was a lot of stuff going on, and people actually knew what they're doing. And that led ultimately to a change in practice of publication way before the Nagoya Protocol. Getting back to Africa, we started publishing together with our local counterparts, because it's actually them who have the knowledge. So why should I only put them in the acknowledgements if they are the people who actually tell me what the whole thing is about? And we have been continuing that on a large scale. These are a couple of recent papers by some of my now finished PhD students in Madagascar. We decided that a lot of work should actually first be done by local scientists, and have made an effort in training local scientists. So most of my students are actually from and working in the countries where they're coming from. Well, what is better than having a student who speaks local language and knows local culture? But of course, you notice these are all nice, peer-reviewed publications, and they're not exactly useful for the people we work with, because none of them would read English, nor might they have access to a lot of these journals. And this is where the Nagoya Protocol comes in, because we talk about fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization. We're in Europe here. The European Union has ratified the Nagoya Protocol, which means, from a European perspective, this for us is international law. No matter, by the way, whether countries we're working in have ratified the protocol, it's still law for us because we're Europeans. And from Missouri Botanical Garden perspective, although we have a government that does not care about international agreements, we also think that it's law for us because this is the ethical thing to do. So what are the goals of the protocol? Well, fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from utilization of genetic resources. Very important for communities, because technically national states have sovereignty over genetic resources, but local communities should get something out of that. So benefits in whatever form, access to resources, technology transfer, funding for conservation and sustainable use are all things local communities have a right to and are interested in. And of course, knowledge needs to be accessed with prior and informed consent after an agreement has been reached. But before, prior informed consent has nothing to do with talking a little bit about your work and then starting it without really telling people what you're doing with that stuff afterwards. And that includes where you publish. So benefit sharing, from our perspective and interpretation of the protocol, must not only include repatriation or evolution of new data in a language people understand, it also must include translation of results of previous studies that might be in our hands to indigenous communities, and if they want so, counterparts must be allowed full participation as authors. They have a right to ask for that because it is their knowledge we're actually investigating. So normally when we publish, for example, a book, we say this has been published under the Nagoya Protocol, and if anybody wants to use it for any other purpose than scientific study, they would have to go back to the community and negotiate a beneficiary agreement because, well, it's in the public domain, fine, but using or applying this information in any other context than science, well, requires additional prior informed consent. And this is how it should not look like. This is JSTOR. JSTOR is really great, and JSTOR has opened up free access for institutions. For example, about 1,000 universities in Africa. However, if I'm outside my institutional network, I can't get access to JSTOR, and I can't get access to global plants. And in this case, this happens to be one of my own types. So even I can't look at my own material if I'm outside my institutional network, and that does not seem very much in line with the Nagoya Protocol. Although JSTOR is based in the United States, so from that perspective, this is what publication should not look like. This happens to be a study that was published in The Lancet recently. Lots and lots and lots of interesting authors. As it happens, not a single local participant. And not even in the acknowledgements do they talk about the people they work with. And as I'm always having an open mouth, I wrote to the editor, but I'm still waiting to hear back. But this technically is a clear violation of the Protocol of Nagoya, and since the Lancet is in the United Kingdom that has ratified the protocol, this is a problem. So, what do we want to do? Well, we publish not just in English, but in local language books that can be repatriated, and we do add local counterparts as authors if they want us to do so. In this case, they did not. And we repatriate such knowledge. In this case, we just got back from Madagascar, where we handed over a book to a local community, to all of the community, and these are the leaders. Very happy people getting their knowledge back in the language they wanted. In this case, it was not Malagasy, it was French. And the material is actually being used, whether parents talk to their children, or teachers talk to their children, or elders talk to children and explain what the whole thing is about. So, very interesting way of giving knowledge back to a community, and because it enters the school system, it is a nice way of perpetuating that knowledge. A lot of the adults might not be able to read French, simply because they're illiterate, but their children are learning French in school using this kind of material. And there are not many white guys involved in that effort. And that gets us to go a step further, go to Bolivia, and look a little bit at traditional knowledge of the Chacobo tribe. The Chacobo are Panoan speakers, about 350 adults here in the north of Bolivia. They got their ancestral territory back under the current Bolivian government. Lots of anthropologists visiting in the last 100 years, and ethnobotanists after that. So this is nowadays territory. This was the original territory that some missionaries got for them, mostly to work. Chacobo have changed, of course. I mean, if you just go there and look at it, clothing style has changed. It seems that a lot of hunting implements have been replaced by others. First look doesn't show a lot of food diversity. So what did we do? We decided to train local ethnobotanists. And people were selected by the local population, I should say. People were very enthusiastic, and those guys, within a year, helped to collect hundreds of vouchers. They interviewed almost the entire adult population of the tribe. Lots of freelist use reports. During the project, all knowledge was repatriated, the previous knowledge, and we're just getting a compendium on plant use ready. But what did they really think? Well, this is the team, lots of charcoal ethnobotanists, very enthusiastically working, interviewing. Very great work. I mean, what can be better than a local interviewer who is there all the time? So, a little bit on the data side, because we might think they can't retrieve good data. Well, not so. Nice distribution of, in this case, I still say informants, although I don't like the term. Overall, very nice consensus between all the participants, not just with the older generation, but in essence everybody. Plant use is nicely distributed. Well, what does influence plant use there? In this case, then is not age or gender, to very, very tiny amount ethnicity. There are some non-trackable. It's where people live. If your community is in the savanna, you know different plants than if you live in a community in the forest. Which was a problem in previous ethnobotanical studies, because in that case, botanists came in, chose a couple of forest plots, and asked, do you use this? Oh yeah, maybe use the fruits or whatever. But they missed a lot of species because they simply did not look at all the areas where people live. Well, if you look at this consensus, respondents in different age groups, consensus is always pretty high, not talking about medicinal species. The interesting thing there, though, is that generally, this generation, people between 40 and 50 have a somewhat more limited knowledge. Not a lot, but a little bit. This is the missionary generation. These are people who grew up under Summer Institute of Linguistics rule, when traditional knowledge was devil's work. So they do have a knowledge deficit, but fortunately, children, younger people are picking up again. But what we also found is that indices, although they're very nice and look good in publications, don't always tell too much, because if you look at cultural importance, well, the species that are important for individuals are very different from, to a large extent, species that are important for the communities. Every index weighs a bit differently. And we look at use diversity, again, we get a set of very different species. The ones in bold are always the ones that are in all the reports, but there's a huge set of species with a lot of uses, but they don't have a lot of cultural importance, nor do they have a lot of use value, most of them. So we found that we have to be very, very careful with the use of indices, individual indices in publications that want to talk about indigenous knowledge. Because unless we use all of them, we will always get very different species sets. So if you use one index in your paper, it essentially doesn't say anything. Well, do plants have uses for specific purpose? Don't try to look at it in detail. Yes, they do. But there are a lot of generalists, Fabaceae, this is just families, Fabaceae, Ericaceae, Moraceae. But there are some groups that are preferred for tools, for construction, especially for medicine. So yes, there are specific purposes for specific plants. And in fact, some species have a very high use incidence in certain categories. That's no surprise, but that's simply data our local counterparts confirm. Well, does language have an influence? Normally, we work with translators. In this case, the interviewer spoke local language. And yes, language does have an influence. People who do speak Jacobo, and that includes other ethnicities, technically have a higher knowledge than folks who don't speak the local language. And this is looking at all plants. This looks different if you look only at one plant group that has a lot of, for example, also commercial uses or general uses. But if you look at all plants, this is indeed the case. Looking at it a little bit differently, Jacobo speakers do know more species if they speak the language and also know more uses. So folks who have very little language knowledge tend to have also less knowledge about species. Then we ask, well, do our interviewers influence what people talk about? The centers of these nice circles are the interviewers. So yes, to some extent, who the interviewer was has some influence on what people talk about. And this is even more important when we think about our own interviews. We also influence our participants, but we normally don't like to talk about that too much. So whether it's plant uses or plant species or plant uses, we always see a very pronounced effect of who interviewed people. So yes, number of plants somebody elucidates depends very much on the interviewer themselves. There are a couple of interviewers that are very good at getting information, and then there are some who are not as great. This, by the way, is us. So we're actually not too bad as interviewers. Same thing with uses. Some interviewers get more uses, some get less uses. But then the question was, if an interviewer knows a lot, will they get more species or more uses? And in this case, no. Remember, this was a very good interviewer who had a lot of knowledge, but they didn't elucidate exactly much species, whereas this person, well, was much better at getting information out of participants. So it does matter whether we have a certain interviewer or other, but the knowledge of the interviewer does really not matter. So some interviewers pull answers, but the question was, do they get additional knowledge? And the course is yes. The best interviewers still got 30% more species, 50% more uses than their own knowledge. So they got additional information. They did not just reiterate what they knew. And the worst interviewers got about the same number of additional mentions, so to say. So even an interviewer who wasn't particularly good did get new information. And accidentally we repeat interviewed people and ask, well, if we talk to the same person twice using different interviewers, will they give us the same information? Remember, these are free lists. And the response is simply no. Everybody we interviewed various times, to a very large extent, gave us different information. First take-home message, free listing, even to the same people, will always give you different information when you ask them twice or thrice. Keep that in mind if you do free listing. Same thing for uses. Uses are also very diverse. If you one person interviewed 3 times, then every time you get new information. So we asked, what does work better, free listing or a dedicated study? Fortunately, we had a previous study that looked at one plant, 2 plants in that case, with a certain number of informants. So the blue one, the focus study, where people were led through a complete set of species, every species mentioned in the interview. The red one is free list. So think about your own free list exercises. We have 80-something participants here, and we got about 20-something species. We reached that level in a free list at about 270 participants. Now go figure, most free lists have relatively few participants. So in this case, a lot of information will be lost. These are just names, these are uses. And in this case, we never actually got all uses in our focus study. There were more in the free list. Same thing when we talk about scientific species, not local names. Oh, we found quite a lot more species in the free list study that interviewed the whole tribe than even in the focus study. And of course, I mean, if you look at uses, elicited uses, there are way more uses when you interview everybody, and only free list. Same for parts. Well, in the case of parts, you do see a difference. If you do a very focused study and ask about every single plant part, you will not lose a lot of information. If you do a free list, you actually will lose some uses for specific parts, even if you talk to the whole population. And just out of curiosity, if you look at descriptions, well, of course, everybody describes a use differently, so I mean, that is just logical. But what about people interviewed twice, where the same guys talking about a specific plant group in a focused interview or in a free list? Well, even there, much more information in this case. In a dedicated study, this is the free list, and this is just differences between individual participants. So no individual participant would give all the information they mentioned in a dedicated interview when they were free listed. However, by interviewing the whole tribe, we still got the whole information. And out of curiosity again, species sets people tend to mention. Certain set in a dedicated study, a much broader set of species in a free list study. And then we look, in this case just showing pounds, at the anthropological and botanical studies we had as comparison. And you see that all the botanists and anthropologists found a much smaller set of species because they either, well, just were in a certain village, looked at household items, or looked at only one forest plot that in that case didn't contain a lot of pounds. So what did we find? Everybody before our study complained about knowledge loss. People don't use traditional clothing, whatever, no traditional crop varieties and so on. Well, a couple of examples, if you look at grinding tubs, they are the same grinding tubs 100 years ago that are used now. The way of preparing manure flour has been the same in the last 100 years, although we might not find those pans if we don't talk to people about manure use. Bark clothing, well, the same bark clothing, same hunting techniques over time. Of course, in daily life, people will not use bark clothing, but for ceremonies or for special occasions they will, so no knowledge was there. Even this kind of thing, the chair, local chair, was only documented in 1909, and actually it still was there 100 years later. So no knowledge was. Same with things like burden baskets or traditional crop varieties. Oh, they're still there. Although a lot of colleagues working there had not registered them, simply because they didn't happen to be in the house they were living in or in the forest plot they worked on. So what do we do with this? Well, I talked about devolution and repatriation of traditional knowledge. These are just some examples. giving knowledge back that we quote-unquote extracted from communities. But think about repatriation. Our colleagues from New York published Ethnobotany of the Chacobo, Brian Boone did in the 1980s, and they were so kind to give us permission to translate the book and give it back to the Chacobo. In this case in Spanish, because that's what the Chacobo wanted. And of course, we gave knowledge back that came out of that first dedicated study as a book that in colorful ways showed how palms were used. Of course, also including scientific information in appropriate language. And in recognition of the Nagoya Protocol. So, you want to use this knowledge for anything else than scientific purposes? Well, go back to Bolivia, talk to the Chacobo and get permission. Just a Spanish version of what I showed you in English. And keep in mind that the authors of these books are the local participants. We're just the editors. Quite a few for all communities in different countries we work with. And then we went one step further. This volume, History of the Chacobo in the 20th Century, is a translation of all publications on the Chacobo, whether they were in English or Spanish or God knows what. German, the first one was in German. And that included repatriation of imagery. And this is an image taken by a German globetrotter in the 1950s. Giving the book back, suddenly the president of the community started crying. Well, turns out, this is him, listening to his grandfather. Had never seen the photo because, well, of course, that German globetrotter just took it and never looked back. And right now we're working on Ethnobotany of the Chacobo in the 21st century, which will include all the information we just got from the Chacobo. So, recommendations, remember, get people out of the forest, have changed over the last 25 years. Now we have to recognize that university administrators, professors, whoever needs to recognize that repatriation of knowledge in an appropriate form needs to be part of any research we do, whether it's a thesis or another project. And students need time and funding to do so, which goes to granting agencies. Well, all funders need to provide financing to do that and to comply with the Nagoya Protocol. Remember, it has been ratified by the European Union, so any European funding agency would have to take that into account. And that needs to include publications or whatever material in a language and in a form the local participants want. And of course, journal editors and reviewers have to start being more stringent in rejecting publications that do not comply with the Nagoya Protocol. And as I said recently in Africa, political colonialism fortunately has been dead long ago. And I hope that the Nagoya Protocol will be the last nail in the coffin of scientific colonialism. So, let's get used to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rainer. I think so many. And Lucas, and then you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
I'll be around the whole week, so
just one short question. The journals usually want original data. So how can you combine the fact that you want the editors to look if the thing is available to the local community and at the same time you have to publish original data?
I think that's very easy. Normally it's much quicker to produce your scientific manuscript. Well, of course, if you can, and day one with local participants as authors, so publish your manuscript and afterwards give both some local information and the manuscript back to the local community, because from experience it always takes much longer to write a nice book on local knowledge than publishing a manuscript. So I would first publish it in a scientific journal and then give the material back to the community, and that has worked very nicely for us.
And I just quickly ask, I'm very impressed with your many feedbacks that you give to the communities. How do you fund that? What is your strategy of funding?
Well, very fortunately, William Brown Center has a nice endowment, and our advisory committee is very much on our side when it comes to use part of that to fund such publications. But this is a huge problem. It's a big problem for students, including, of course, time, and it's also a problem for all of us. But personally speaking, I'd rather try to take some money out of my own pocket, which fortunately isn't too empty, to publish those, than not giving something back.
I would like to finish because it's 12:05. So I will need to make some announcements, however. So your registration fee, as